me first welcome you on this conference in the name of the King Sigismund College, which is the site of this conference. This institution has been established in 2000 as a new higher education facility which belongs to the private sector of higher education in Hungary. And since that time it has been established as one of the best colleges which could be accredited about 11 bachelor courses, 4 master courses, and it allows for students to study social sciences, business studies, economics, and humanities in many different courses. We have about 2,500 to 3,500 students in average. It is changing from year to year. We make not only teaching here, but also research issues are also in the high school facility at home. We have research centers which follow researches in sociology, European studies, geopolitics, electoral studies, demographic theory, adult education, studies in religion, in media, and even gerontology. We organize numerous conferences in order to try to utilize their findings for enhancing the effectiveness of higher education in general. Now let me contribute some ideas to the topic of the conference itself. As I am a political scientist, of course I was very much interested in the emerging nationalism shortly after the system change in the East Central European region, and I myself reflected upon it in several of my articles. I described this phenomenon comparatively and analyzed also its reasons. I think the new tide of nationalism and national fervor was explained by the following reasons. First, there was a re-emerging of history. Formerly, there existed in this whole region characterized by belated nation building, by many ethnic and national conflicts and dividing lines, which was, however, repressed under communist rule. And after the collapse of communism, of course, all these issues come up again. A second hypothesis for explaining the upcoming new nationalist tide was the formation of new nation states, especially in the Baltic states, Slovakia, due to this dissolving of Yugoslavia. The third one was the kind of ideological crisis or identity crisis after the dissolution of former social and political ties. A need for new ideology emerged and nationalism stepped in to serve this purpose for many people, especially for majorities. The need for legitimacy was the fourth important reason. A new political elite, a new political class emerged, which tried to instrumentalize national sentiments in order to diminish its credibility gap and to try to stabilize government power. This was also an important issue, especially on the side of conservative political forces. Of course, the situation was very different in the respective countries, depending on the fact which aspect dominated in the revitalizing of national traditions. There has been national fervor of nation building in the newly independent countries. There has been a very deep ethnic strife in former Yugoslavia. But for instance, in Hungary, the situation was much more relaxed. Only one part of the elite was caught by this national fervor, and the majority of the population was rather cold against this nationalist tide. At that time, I thought that nationalistic strifes will remain only a temporary issue in the region, which will be solved soon if all the old nation states of the region would become full members of the European Union. Europeanization seemed for me the assurance that historical animosities, national hatred, overt nationalism, and the like would disappear, and all the national and minority conflicts would be resolved in a peaceful, democratic manner. A compatriot of mine who lives in Switzerland, Andreas Oplatka, warned me already in the 90s that this is an illusion. We cannot think that the integration will solve all these problems. The European Union will not automatically resolve any conflicts, considering that it will also not deteriorate them. It may mitigate them, but not resolve them. Much will depend on the goodwill and the behavior of the new political classes of the respective countries. How they will handle the emerging social conflicts that will accompany the integration process itself, especially in times of economic hardships. Just now, this is the situation. The strains of economic crisis deteriorate the social situation and may endanger politically even already achieved agreements and consents in this respect. I must say that Oplatka was right and I was wrong. The European Union has its own problem with identity formation, with ethnic strifes, and wants to acknowledge only legally individual rights for national minorities and denies collective rights in order to avoid open conflict with its member states. And this will remain the case until the European Union will become a federal union and not a supranational organization or an interstate organization as is now the case. So the problem of conflicting national identities and nationalistic politics remains with us in the foreseeable future, and we have to tackle these challenges anew. Experts invited to this conference will surely contribute to the clarification of the many facets of this complicated issue. Without being an expert myself on this topic, let me nevertheless say a few words about the challenges we face in the next future in this respect, caused by the changing world of globalization. Danny Roderick, a well-known Harvard economist, expressed in his work, The Globalization Paradox, a fundamental political dilemma. I cite him: we cannot simultaneously pursue democracy, national determination, and economic globalization. If we want to push globalization further, we have to give up either a nation state or democratic politics. If we want to maintain and deepen democracy, we have to choose between the nation state and democratic politics. If we want to maintain and deepen democracy, we have to if we want to keep the nation state and self-determination, we have to choose between deepening democracy and deepening globalization. He speaks of the need of smart globalization, not maximum globalization. Why I mention this problem? Because the economic globalization, what we experience, which is transmitted to us also by the European Union, exacerbates and not alleviates the national question everywhere, not only in Hungary, not only in East Central Europe, but especially in the third world. This is proved by experience when the uncontrolled market globalization leads to global economic and financial crisis, as is now the case, threatens national sovereignty, and as a consequence stirs up nationalism and fundamentalist identity politics as a repercussion, and by this also stirs up ethnic and national conflicts within nation states. All these may deteriorate the political situation for democratic solution of national conflicts and minority issues. National identity and European identity, to remain at home, are not exclusive, but rather complementary forms of collective identity. The same must be true for the relations of the titular nations of East Central European countries, or nation states, and their national minorities. Double or even multiple identities have to be acknowledged as the norm in an integrated society and in an integrated world anyway. And this requires a pluralistic or pluralist approach to political democracy. It is always detrimental to political democracy if state power is misused to question the natural social and cultural pluralism of their society in the wish of aggrandizement of their own nation. I mentioned these aspects only in order to broaden the perspective in our analysis of the topics of our conference. It is not only a regional problem, it is a problem of our globalizing world. I wish you good work in the hope of a meaningful discussion of all these related issues. Thank you.